Hey folks, Andy here from Fit Body Strong Mind. Today I want to talk to you about fasting, specifically fasting in relation to getting in shape or losing weight or getting leaner, whichever is your goal. And fasting is something which is generally quite misunderstood, particularly here in Western society and particularly in the UK. And people are a bit scared of fasting. People seem to be scared to go more than a few hours without eating something. But in actual fact, fasting, if you're trying to get in shape, it can have a massive boost to your results. And there's a few reasons why, and I'm going to go into a few of the key reasons why fasting can be so beneficial if you're trying to get in shape or you're trying to get leaner and you're maybe not seeing the results that you want. Now, the first reason why fasting is beneficial is that it can make it a lot easier to stay in a calorie deficit. Now, remember that if you're trying to get leaner, you're trying to lose weight, you must take in less calories than you burn. And a lot of people find this very difficult because we're in a society which food is everywhere and very high calorie foods are everywhere, and we're always eating. And fasting, what it does, or most fasting protocols, it's just a prolonged period of no food at all, followed by a shorter period, a shorter window of eating. So for example, I used to do something called the warrior diet, and I still do it sometimes, where I would have 20 hours of not eating anything, and then 4 hours of eating, of an eating window. And in fact, I really enjoyed it because in the 4 hour eating window, I could essentially eat whatever I wanted. I would still find that I was losing weight and I was in better shape. And one of the reasons is that it's very difficult to overeat when you've only got a 4 hour eating window. Now you might be thinking, oh, that's impossible, I could never go 20 hours without eating. Well, essentially we already go 8 to 10 hours at night without eating, and it's just prolonging that fast throughout the day. It doesn't have to be for 20 hours, it could be for 12 or 14 or 16. But somewhere around 16 to 20 hours is optimal. So it makes it a lot easier to stay in a calorie deficit when you fast. So that's the first thing. I apologise for my not very neat primary school writing, but there we go. The second reason that fasting can be very beneficial is that it can significantly increase the rate at which you burn body fat. Now, in our modern society, again, we have so many carbs available. 90% of the foods that we eat on a habitual basis are carbs. Pastas, breads, rice, cakes, cereals. We're inundated with carbohydrates, and they're not the healthiest things in the world. And most of our diet's based on them. And what that means is that our bodies are constantly burning sugar for energy, and they never get the chance to tap into our stored body fat for energy, particularly if we're in a calorie surplus. So what's happening is we're constantly storing more and more body fat and never tapping into it, and it's never being released for energy. So fasting can combat that because you're going a prolonged period where you don't take on any food, and one of those foods being carbs, and therefore the body doesn't have immediate sugar available for energy, so it taps into stored body fat, and body fat is released into the system, into the bloodstream, to be burned for energy, which can have a massive effect on the rate at which you lose weight and also the quality of the weight that you lose, because instead of losing muscle, you lose fat because the body is being induced into a fat burning state. So increased rate of fat burning. Again, the primary two writing. And the third reason why fasting is so beneficial is linked to reason number two, and that is that it can really help to stabilize blood sugar levels. Again, related to the high volume of carbs in our diet and the amount and the regularity with which we eat. Our blood sugar levels are constantly going up and down as we take on carbs. Insulin is released by the pancreas to deal with those carbs, and over time that creates chronically high levels of insulin. Eventually we take on so many carbs that they've got nowhere to go. The insulin can't shuttle them into the muscles or into the liver. So insulin is being released but it can't do anything with the constant intake of carbs. So the pancreas burns out, which leads to insulin resistance and eventually type 2 diabetes. So fasting can really combat that because it prevents us from essentially overworking the pancreas, because we essentially give our body no carbs for a prolonged period of time, so the blood sugar can't constantly rise and fall. And so that helps us to burn fat because the body's forced into using body fat for energy, and it's not constantly releasing insulin to deal with the sugar coming in. So it's a massive benefit. So reduced insulin or levelling of blood sugar is reason number 3. Reason number 4 is actually slightly different, and this is for those people who are worried that fasting will actually affect their physique or their muscle mass. And in fact, studies have shown more recently that fasting for a prolonged period of time can actually release and increase the production of growth hormone in the body, which is one of the primary hormones in the building of muscle. And from anecdotal evidence for myself, I know that when I've worked out after a prolonged fast, the post-workout window is massively amplified. So what I do is I fast for a prolonged period of time, and then in the post-workout window I eat a massive meal, and that post-workout window, which is so effective for shuttling nutrients into the muscles which need them, is greatly amplified. So it's a huge benefit potentially of fasting. Fasting is maybe not the best protocol if you're looking to get massive and build significant mass, but you certainly can stay very, very lean, and in fact some of my strongest lifts have been when I've been fasted. So, increased growth hormone production. So those are the 4 main reasons which relate to getting in shape and why fasting can be so beneficial. But there is another one as well, and it's not related so much to getting in shape, and it's something that I've found, and it's your productivity when you're fasted seems to go up a huge amount. And the reason for this is that 2 things. First of all, we're not constantly thinking about food, so we're not constantly being distracted by the thoughts of what we're going to eat next, because we've given ourselves a window of no eating. And the second reason that productivity goes through the roof is simply because our bodies are not constantly in a state of digestion. And because they're not constantly in a state of digestion, there's less energy being used for digestion. And that means that energy can be used to focus, to concentrate, to focus our time on other tasks. And basically all our energy goes into what we're doing in the moment. So it's amazing the way productivity can increase in the fasted state. Of course, you do get some feelings of hunger from time to time, but what you learn is that you don't actually have to pay attention to those feelings. You can ignore them, and after 20 minutes or so they go away to be replaced by this feeling of well-being, and as you move into the zone where your body's burning more and more body fat. So it really, really can be beneficial. Now, fasting is something that I personally love to do. It's something that I recommend. However, I'm not a doctor, so if it's something that you're thinking of doing, I would recommend you consult your doctor. But if you're a healthy person and you've no health issues at all, except for the fact that you want to be in better shape and lose some weight, it's something I would strongly recommend. It can have massive benefits in lots of different areas of life. Thanks for watching. You can find more about fasting and indeed all areas of getting in shape on my website fitbodystrongmind.com, so go and check it out, and I'll look forward to seeing you on another video. Thanks for watching.